Hi everyone, I'm Maggie. I'm right now a group product manager in Walmart e-commerce focusing on Walmart fulfillment services. Basically is we're launching products for the sellers to use our Walmart platform for our supply chain services. So that's kind of how this new team is. I'm pretty new to the role, so I'm not going to talk too much about this new role. In the past 7 years, I've been with Walmart Bentonville, which is our home office in the stores. Started my career there as a leadership program trainee. It is something that Walmart has been putting a lot of investment on in our supply chain new leaders. And after that, I actually moved back to Walmart China for 2 years. So at that time, I was responsible for direct import, building direct import for our Chinese liquor and frozen chilled categories. With Walmart China, I think it was the first time probably I became a people manager. I had a team focusing on domestic liquor replenishment and supply chain. And after that, I got a pretty good opportunity actually moving back to the e-commerce space. I enjoyed it really, really much. And 6 weeks ago, I actually moved to product. It's quite a journey with Walmart, 7 years so far.
Our second question is, what do the day-to-day responsibilities of the role look like as a supply chain entry level and as a product manager at Walmart?
I think I probably have more experience in the supply chain field because I've been there for a long time in the past. So the day-to-day, I would say, looks like it's more of you are an interface of all the internal and external partners. So from an internal perspective, we work really closely with our retail partners to make sure our profit and loss are correct, make sure we're improving our category profitability by identifying and implementing the end-to-end supply chain optimization strategies. And then externally, we work with our suppliers, making sure things are fulfilling on time, in full, basically what we learned in supply chain in school. I think it's pretty similar to what we learned in school. We drive the operational excellence from a supplier perspective, making sure they are fulfilling the need of us. And then we're also doing a lot of system enhancement with our technical teams. But basically we are, helping our internal teams to build and enhance the systems using the business knowledge that we have and the analytical skills that we have, and looking at the data, looking at the business trend, looking at the seasonalities. So that would be also, part of the role. And I would say for a pretty entry-level supply chain role, it's in Walmart, it's probably 80% day-to-day operations, including what I just talked about, and then 20% is going to be project-based. So there are a lot of interesting projects that our team has been working on. For example, working with our team, working with our internal groups, and make sure we can deliver 2 days, how we can improve the next day delivery. A lot of those little projects. I'm not going to say little projects, but a lot of those, projects is going to take 20% of the time.
In Brandeis, there are a lot of students majoring data analysts. So what does data application in Walmart supply chain management look like?
We have our internal systems. Actually, we build our systems in-house. We do have a lot of data applications that we're using. Probably the ones that you guys are more familiar with are, SAPs and all those data applications. But what we use is actually something we build internally. We call it automated inventory management system. And then we are in our store side, we also have a smart system that we're using, and both of them are internally. So basically how during my time with Walmart, I've seen it evolving from using something like externally, going into using our in-house system, which which is actually more customized to our need. And also whenever there's an enhancement needed, like, the things I was talking about, our role initially is we can provide a lot of inputs. The internal engineers actually can help us, to make the changes a lot faster than if we're using an external system. So so we're using our in-house applications and systems. So system actually use machine learning. So it's I think it's like machine is always better than like the human brains. But what we're doing using the data analytics part on is we helped to train the system. We use the data analytics that we have, for example, like the seasonality things that I was talking about. If from a human perspective, we know for a fact of looking at historical changes that we see, the weather changes and all that, how that impact actually the forecasting piece, impact the demand piece, then we help to provide those informations and data to the data analysts and also our internal engineering team, so they can help to train the system and train the machine learning so the algorithm can learn itself. So ultimately where we want to get to is, instead of using human calculation, human data input, and what human touch should only be exception basis, and the system is ultimately using the algorithm to calculate most of the things.
Next question. So COVID-19 has undoubtedly affected global supply chains. Which area of the supply chain do you feel Walmart or in general the supply chain industry is facing more significant challenges in?
So definitely, I think that no matter what supply chain we're talking about, it's always the demand and supply balance is always going to be the biggest challenge that we face in every single field, no matter what time. And especially in COVID this year, we have been seeing a huge surge of e-commerce. The trend is really leaning towards e-commerce rather than brick and mortar stores. So with this year, a lot of our categories are having more than 100% comp versus last year. And how we actually keep up with the demand. First of all, the demand is not predictable this year. And secondly, the supply is really not stable, with a lot of factories shutting down due to COVID. And then also a lot of the competitors are also seeking for the exact same items that we are seeking for. So I think you will see more of this demand and supply imbalance this year in the entire supply chain field. And what Walmart has been, it's definitely like really tough for us to keep up with the change. But I think what we have, which is a competitive advantage over a lot of other competitors, is we do have this omni-channel supply that we have. For example, we have not only our e-commerce, our stores probably 80 or 90% of our business. And where we see there's a shift from the demand from our brick and mortar store to e-commerce, we can actually shift the inventory and make sure we prioritize e-commerce inventory rather than the store inventory for some of the things that people tend to buying more online. So I think that's a pretty big advantage that Walmart had over the other fields. And also, in the past, probably less people are using grocery pickup. And also this year, there are a lot of enhancements on that piece when we can also leveraging our omni-channel world, and the customers can pick up their items same day in the stores. So yeah, definitely, I think COVID has changed a lot of behaviors of the customers and changed supply chain dramatically. And this year, we were just joking that it has been peak since last holiday. So like normally we have our peak started in September, and this year basically the whole year is a peak for us. But the challenges also bring opportunity. I think we'll see a lot of customers forever shifting to the .com behavior, especially the elderly people who actually in the past don't really use the .com business. They are probably forever going to shift to this new channel of how they purchase stuff. So I think this is also a huge opportunity for us this year.
in e-commerce industry, Walmart is kind of a direct competitor to Amazon. So what do you say, like what kind of positions for these two companies right now?
I think we both have definitely Amazon is much bigger from the e-commerce space than Walmart. Walmart is like the forever number two in this space. But I would say there are advantage over each field. In my own perspective, this is only like Maggie speaking of Maggie's perspective. But Amazon is, I think Amazon has a really huge catalog that they win at first. So they have just a lot of long tail items that we don't carry in Walmart. They have, their e-commerce assortment is just so huge that the competitors is really, really hard for them to keep up with them. But I think, we cannot win with copying whatever other people are doing. We just have to win with our own strategy. And my personal perspective is just leveraging our omni-channel and also leveraging groceries. It's going to be a huge win for us because although Amazon do have Whole Foods, but Whole Foods only have, I don't know how many stores they have, but Walmart has like almost 6,000 stores, and which, there's a data showing 90% people in the US have a Walmart in 10 minutes driving from their home. So I think that's something that we, we can leverage basically is the grocery space. And this is something that, compared to Amazon's catalog, it's something that we can win over. I think in the long run, that's my perspective.
Do you have anything you want to see to encourage our Brandeis students who are in the job searching process in the current climate?
Definitely difficult, and I think just don't give up. It's definitely a tough situation. Don't give yourself such a hard time. Blaming on where we can blame on the environment a little bit, but I think a few things. I probably can share a personal story. When I was in my master's looking for jobs, I remember the first job is really hard to get because probably people see, the US companies, you don't have any experience in any of the US companies that they wouldn't even like look at your resume. I remember my first summer intern that I was trying to get when I was in master's. I applied for, I don't even know how many jobs I applied for. And then I have no response, or even I have a few interviews I failed. And I was like just giving myself a pretty hard time, like, okay, I'm gonna go back and take my summer internship back home. But then at that time I was like, okay, I don't want to give up. So what I was doing is when I was from Maryland. So when I was driving on the road, I was looking at every single company's name on the building and then take them down in my note. And then every day I go back, I just search for every single company and see if there's a supply chain position out there. So in the end, it was really interesting. The job the summer intern I got was from, it's basically the water provider for our area, for the DC, Maryland area. It's a pretty big company. And basically what I did, how I got that opportunity is when I received my water bill, I searched for that company and saw them, they have a program, and then apply, and then I got it. So, and then I think after I got the first opportunity, the second, the third one just becomes so smooth. So I think my suggestion is like, just strive for every single opportunity that you can, and don't give up, and also start as early as possible. Like I think no matter what level you're at, starting from when you just enter the school is totally fine. Like I think just start as early as possible, and then be your true self. And when you're talking with people, you're actually just talking with a person. So I think like don't be afraid of who this person is, what level they're at. They're just a person that is interested in you at the same time as you're interested in them. So I think just be natural and be the real self. It's something that I would recommend in job searching.